Recently, someone mentioned to me Hell is Us and said that it's a demo that you can get access to right now. I never heard of it, so I was very curious and I had to download it. I played it, I loved it, so I thought I'm gonna pay it forward and make a little video about it on my YouTube channel for anyone who is as clueless as I was before this was recommended to me. So basically this game is a third-person action-adventure game that combines intense melee combat with the thrill of exploration. And in the beginning of the game you are being told that there's going to be no map and no quest markers, so that made me curious too and instantly reminded me of Elden Ring, where we had the same thing, and when I looked it up it says this is actually considered a Souls-like game. But so far what I have experienced, the combat is much more satisfying and not as frustrating as in Souls-like games. So if you are afraid of Souls-like games, you may still have a lot of fun with this game. And while I'm saying that the combat is satisfying, it took me a little while to get used to the button controls because there are so many different control combinations, and on the controller it can be a little bit of a nightmare because you have left trigger and all kinds of combinations and right trigger and all kinds of combinations, and the same goes for left and right bumper. So remembering that during fighting will take quite a bit of learning. I actually played this game twice. The second time around I felt much more comfortable and much better about the game than the first time around. And when you start, you're kind of dealing with one enemy at a time, which I really like because they slowly introduce you to the mechanics and the enemies. And then they introduce you to two, and you learn that you can use your drone to distract one of the enemies so then you can deal with the other one, or you could just deal with them both at the same time while they're standing there all confused looking at the drone, which is hilarious. And then sooner or later you're gonna get your hands on a second weapon, which are those dual axes, which are a ton of fun and seem to do a lot more damage because I was able to take enemies down much faster and I had a blast using those. But that's not all. You get introduced to an even more challenging enemy, which is this red concussion of who knows what that keeps charging at you at incredible speeds. So you definitely by then have to have your button controls kind of like in order, but I still kind of fumbled with my fingers even in my second playthrough. And those two enemies are actually attached to each other via some umbilical cord, as you can see. So you have to deal with the red enemy first, kill it, take it down, which then makes the other one, the white one, vulnerable. And as you can see, there's always a white ring, so you have to smash the RB button quickly when that ring appears, which gives you like a health boost. But yeah, this game is not all about just wandering through a world and smashing enemies. There's actually a lot more to it. For example, there's puzzles everywhere, kind of like Elden Ring a lot. I feel like the developers probably were thinking about Elden Ring a lot when they built this game, because a lot of things reminded me of it. Puzzles are a lot of fun, not hard at all, but could get harder maybe later on. They're just kind of like the usual puzzles that you know from other games, but you can also scan walls with your drone to get information when you're kind of stuck and you feel like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. And their messages usually give you pretty good hints about what you're supposed to do if you pay attention to it. But of course there's also puzzles where you need parts that I didn't have, and I knew I had to probably travel through the world to find them and come back here, kind of like what I'm used from other games. Some of them I actually did find, but sometimes it was just part of it. So I had like one part, I got all excited, and I then had to figure out how to find the second part, which like on this door there's two of them, one on the left, one on the right. And I found the second part a lot later in a different part of the map and couldn't get back, so that's what tells me that you have to come back at a later time. You also can collect a lot of helpful items, like this one, for example, is a limbic capacitator, which instantly gives you energy. I think I haven't gotten as far yet as figuring everything out. And periodically you find those like little manual save thingies here that are very helpful, which kind of act as checkpoints so you don't have to go so far back in case you die. And then you have a tablet that you can open up at any time. Here you have access to your inventory, to your drone settings, exploration items, investigation items, and so much more. And then you can also find those military vehicles called APC, but you need a key for them, which you usually find or someone gives them to you. And in there you can access all this information that you can access on the tablet. But then you also have access to another interface, which is over here, where you can actually see the map that you can play in the whole game. And look how large it is. You know, we thought we're not going to get a map, then we see this, and I was really happy to see how huge the map is, so that's always exciting. So it looks like there is so much to do, and what you can do with this map basically is to just fast travel from one point to another, but only to the ones that have opened up because it's part of your investigation. That's as much as I understood, but I love that there is at least some sort of a map. And the settings are actually pretty good. There's lots you can set. The one thing I definitely had to set is the vertical and horizontal look sensitivity. I had to turn it from 50 down to 30 because it was just way too sensitive for me. I almost got dizzy playing when I started it. That helped a lot, but you might be different. What I actually thought was interesting or kind of disappointing is that the accessibility was lacking a lot of settings. For example, you cannot make the font bigger, which is like one of the most important accessibility features for gamers. A lot of the text in the game is very small, which forced me to walk up to the TV just so I was able to read it. And here are all the controls that you have to use to play this game. As you can see, it's quite crazy, all the combinations. You can change the key bindings. I tried, but because there's so many, it's quite difficult to not just end up in a conflict mess. And if you've played Elden Ring, you probably will get reminded of a scene while you're standing here. Well, it did that for me, and I got really happy feelings, and I felt like if the game is more like that, I'm definitely gonna like it. This game will already release on September 4th, which is only a couple weeks away. It will be coming out on PlayStation, Windows, and Xbox, so anyone can enjoy this game. I highly recommend you try the demo and see for yourself if you like it. I think I would have not known if I wanted this game if it wasn't for the demo, so that always helps a lot. I hope you enjoyed this little video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't yet, and I hope to see you next time. Until then, happy gaming, take care, bye bye.